Welcome to the Jen and Margie Show. I'm Jen Cousins.
What? Jim Cousins, and I'm Margie Wiggin.
Someone's going to change your name, either them or us.
We're looking forward to talking with you this evening. We have a few guests with us tonight. We're going to have Charlotte Shire, who is the AP Environmental Science teacher at the high school. We're going to have Dale, she's going to talk about climate change. We're going to have Dale Danahy and Ann Click talking about community activities as opposed to kids sitting next to each other texting. And if we have time, we'll talk about Charlottesville, Virginia and what's happening there. So here we go.
All right. Well, Charlotte, thank you very much for being on our show tonight.
Thanks for asking me.
All right. So I think we should start off before we talk about like what climate change could look like. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about, do you think climate change is real?
Oh, do I think that? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a great deal of consensus in the scientific community that climate change is real. And we have more and more evidence that points to that. So I really think that, Jim, the conversation about whether it's real or not is something that we should sort of just say that we accept the science or that we reject the science. You don't really believe in science. You either accept it or reject it. And at this point, the scientific community is pretty much in agreement. So we should start to think about what comes next.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're measurable things. It's not.
Yes.
It's not people just saying, "Oh, I think this is happening and it's getting warmer." That's not the point. The polar ice caps are melting, and
Absolutely.
polar bears don't have environment that they had, and so there are real measurable.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The
global average temperature has gone up 1.2 degrees Fahrenheit since 1986. So that was a few years after I graduated high school.
I'm not saying when I graduated high school, and that doesn't seem like a big deal, 1.86 degrees.
Yep.
But I think it's more the results, what's happening
Yes.
as a result of that.
Yeah.
Storms seem to be more violent.
Yep.
And unpredictable.
Yes.
Weathermen are not as right as I recall. Maybe that's just in my head.
Well, it's interesting because last week there was a draft report that was actually, I'm not even sure it was released last week. I think it's actually been on a government website for a while. But at any rate, there was this draft report released, and many of the major news outlets picked up that report and sort of put some summary together, like the New York Times and the Boston Globe. Yeah. And they were talking about how in Boston, actually, we've experienced the warming a little bit more. It's about 2 degrees, warmer Fahrenheit as opposed to 1.2 globally. So northern latitudes are feeling it more. And you're absolutely right, Margie. The storms are getting more intense, and the precipitation is happening sort of in these very intense storms, which has implications in terms of stormwater runoff and water management and things like that. So we really need to think about how to prepare for those things.
Yeah, and I think also, there is a lot more damage done in these intense storms.
Yes.
It's not just, it snowed 4 feet and woohoo, the kids get a day off and we get to play. It's houses and trees falling and, things happening and roofs caving in, and I don't remember the extreme difficulty.
Yep.
With each storm that we're having now.
And it's well documented. This latest report that they're going to release, I guess, in the fall or the winter, they'll release the final version. They're going to talk about how that's one of the new things that they have figured out in the last 4 years is that the storms are more intense. The precipitation is coming sort of all at once. So there's major economic implications in terms of coastal erosion, in terms of heavy snowfall that we have to prepare for, and you're right, property damage in terms of people's homes or how we manage it.
And can I ask what is the source of the report? Is it a government report?
It is a government report.
And which agency would that be?
Actually, there were, I believe, 17 different agencies that I believe that contributed to that report. And the administration has had no formal comment. I think that the press secretary said the other day that they want to hold off on formal comment until the final version is released.
Until the report is out.
Yeah.
Which actually is a reasonable response. You kind of want to wait to see what the report is before you respond instead of...
True, yes. Although I think that really what we're down to is edits.
Okay.
So, I'd like to just kind of jump to the chase, because I'll be honest with you, some of the times I don't even read these articles anymore, because it's like, it can seem so doom and gloom.
Yep.
So what I want to know is there any hope? Like, you know what I mean? Is it too late now, or is there any chance that we could avoid the worst of these?
Oh, Jim, I am, and you have to be if you're a person who does what I do. But I am an eternal optimist.
Me too.
I am really quite optimistic about the future, and that in large part actually is due to the students that are in front of me every day.
Yeah.
Except for the summer. But they're passionate, they're curious, and they really do want to think critically about these things. So I am optimistic about the future. Although I have to say that the longer we delay action and thoughtful policy, then the more difficult the situation becomes. So that's why I really think that we need to sort of move away from the conversation of is it real or not, and then say, okay, let's 97% of the scientists agree, and why this. The policy piece is really where we should have the discussion, because it does have economic impact and it does have social impact, but doing nothing has much more economic impact.
In this particular environment, though, is the policy piece even going to be possible?
Well, that's an interesting question. Because... Well, and let me get back to your other question just for a moment, because I realized I didn't answer it. But we need to be on a dual track here in terms of, well, maybe 3 tracks.
Okay.
3 tracks is good.
That's right, 3 tracks.
Never
one
touch
track
the third rail.
is that we need to, as long as we don't go off the rails, right. So one track needs to be that we need to commit to continuing the scientific research.
Yeah.
Because the models are not a magic ball. We can't, crystal ball, we can't look in them and know exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
So the research is important to put into those models to say what, is going to happen.
Yeah.
And the model is only as good as the scientific research that's put into it.
Right.
So that's number 1. Number 2, we need to sort of accept the science and understand that we can make a difference. If the Paris Agreement sets out the goal of 2 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So that's about a 4 degrees Fahrenheit. And they say within that range, life as we know it can be pretty normal. Okay? But to do that, we need to have some aggressive curbing of carbon emissions, and we need to have a serious, thoughtful discussion about that as a national level. The third track would be we need to prepare, because you're absolutely right that there is some of this change that is inevitable. So we, especially for a state like Massachusetts, which so much of our resources are coastal resources. Sea level is expected to, it's already risen between 7 and 8 inches
That's
in
the
the
scary
last
thing.
And
century.
Governor Baker, just like last week ago, it was something about 80% of electricity has to come from renewables. Is that right?
Yep.
To me, that's like awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's good.
And so to your other question in terms of in this political climate, is that policy piece possible. And what I will say is, since the announcement from the administration that they are planning to withdraw from the Paris Accord, it's my understanding that, or the Paris Agreement, it's my understanding that over 1,400 cities,
that's right,
states, and businesses have committed to curbing the CO2 emissions. So, Jim, I don't necessarily feel like it needs to be doom and gloom, because I actually think that it needs to, if it's coming from the state level, if it's coming from the local level, if it's coming from businesses, then it's actually not as sort of, you get more buy-in from the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Grassroots.
It's more of a grassroots movement.
Yeah.
And the only thing I will say is that the thing that I can't understand is, isn't this going to be a phenomenal business opportunity for some people who are like, okay, you know what? Let's make the technology.
Absolutely. And I mean, you guys have, Hopkinton made a commitment several years ago to solarize, and I know you have solar businesses in town.
Yeah.
And that is the future.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that we're, I cannot, sort of fathom that as a country we're going to walk away from that.
Yeah.
That opportunity. Particularly here in Massachusetts, because we have so many tech people, and it's such an economic opportunity.
Yeah.
And you certainly, personally, when when the administration announced that they were going out of the Paris Agreement, I think the Chinese were like, great, we're happy to step in and
there goes competition.
Yeah, and we weakened our global leadership position when that happened. So hopefully that will turn around. I'm an optimist too.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to say, when you mentioned, when you look at the kids, I think about the science fairs.
Oh yeah.
And the kids come up with these fabulous projects, and they're thinking about what are some current issues that could be handled by an alternative, solution that no one's thought of yet, because they have that creative problem-solving skill, and they're wide open, and they've got their fingers on the pulse of the new things that are coming out.
Yeah.
So that's so exciting.
I didn't read this article. I'm sorry. I just read the headline. But there was somewhere they're now thinking about some type of device that will actually take the carbon out of the atmosphere. And I don't know how that could possibly work.
Right.
Well, but then the plants need carbon dioxide.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to. That's going to be a delicate balance.
It is, and I mean, Jim, you're right that there are scientific people, engineering people that are trying to sort of geoengineer. Can we geoengineer our way out of this? And I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, if you were to tell me, 20 years ago that we were all going to be walking around with little computers in our hands.
Well, it was on Star Trek. Star Trek had it so
exactly, So you don't know what the future holds. But but I would say that we can't bank on that.
Yep.
The other question I had is the cows. So there's a whole lot of methane going on.
Right.
Is there a way? Because I read something about if you include seaweed in cow's feed, they don't produce as much methane. So I would think even those little tweakings, that they could figure out, okay, that's an amazing discovery as far as I'm concerned. Just adjust some of their feed and not produce as much methane, which is part of what's ruining the ozone layer. And so I think there is a lot of hope, in my humble opinion, but I don't really know anything.
So we've kind of both mentioned a couple of kind of things that we've heard here and there. What have you heard? What do you think is coming down the pike that could really have an impact?
Oh, well, I think that methane is getting more attention.
See?
And certainly, so I do think that is getting more attention, and rightfully so, because of a couple of things. Number one, the amount of methane that is produced through the industrial agriculture is quite staggering, and secondly, one methane molecule is actually equal to 20 carbon dioxide molecules in the atmosphere.
Yeah, wow.
So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So carbon dioxide is CO2. What is
Yes.
methane?
It's CH4.
Okay. Okay.
So
Why aren't they giving cows like Gas X or something like that now? I mean, it's, you know,
that sounds like a wonderful
See,
idea.
Put that out there.
I
Put
just
that out
did.
there.
It's $1 million idea.
There we go. Jim has solved the climate problem.
So see, we have great ideas.
There you go. So the deal is that it sounds a little technical, and
That's
but,
okay.
When you have plant matter that is being broken down in an environment without oxygen,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
that is going to produce methane.
Like a
So-
landfill.
Exactly, like a landfill.
Because it can't.
or
Sorry.
even if you walk through a swampy area, a bog, and you sort of smell that little like
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, so that's that what we call anaerobic decomposition.
Okay.
So it's so rice paddies, the gut of a cow,
Rice patty produces
rice
methane.
paddy, yeah.
What?
And
Wait,
yeah,
does that mean rice has methane in it?
no.
Oh, good. I don't
And
know.
the other thing is that it's a very small little molecule. It's 1 carbon, 4 hydrogens, and all the natural gas that we're pulling out of the ground, some of it's going to leak, so some of it comes from that as well.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So the other things that are coming down the pike that we've been sort of keeping our eye on in terms of the science is that the Arctic is warming twice as fast as other places on Earth.
Why?
And the Arctic, we don't know.
Is it because the ozone hole is over the Arctic?
You know, there's a lot of, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly why. And again, you know, you got to continue to have that scientific research so you can answer these questions. But yeah, so something about those northern latitudes, they're getting the warming a little bit more intensely. But the tundra has this special soil that stays frozen all year long. Permafrost, exactly. And in that permafrost is a lot of CO2 and a lot of methane. So as that melts, so that may be one of those tipping points.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, again, up in the Arctic, and it seems so far away, it seems so removed from where we are, you know? Unless, of course, it's January. But
It's here. It's right here.
that polar vortex,
Yes.
whatever came
Yeah, that
down
was here. Oh my gosh.
it was. So, at any rate, as the Arctic is warming faster, we of course the ice caps and the polar ice sheets are melting.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody who's ever gone skiing or walked out on a nice, bright, sunny day
Right.
knows that the sunlight is actually reflected.
Right.
So it actually, more snow cover helps the Earth in terms of the warming, because that energy is just reflected back. So those are the two things that I'm sort of keeping my eye on.
So I have I heard an interesting thing, and I didn't write it down, so it's not fully in my brain. But there was something about there are many volcanoes underneath either the Arctic or Antarctica, and they just found hundreds more or something, or 90 more. So obviously inactive right now, but for me, that just was fascinating. So what was the history of that? Why were there volcanoes there in those places? And then what does that say for the future? If what they were saying was, if that ice melts more and the volcanoes are exposed, would that mean that they would then be more active? And that would completely change everything.
Right. Exactly.
So I just heard that. I didn't hear the full.
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard that. So it's one of the
Weird.
challenges of my job is trying to keep up with all of this.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
But yeah, it really is. And so I hadn't heard that. But certainly, if you have increased volcanic activity, it's going to, one of the gases that volcanoes produce is CO2. And if you look back at the geologic record, you'll see these spikes of CO2 and spikes of temperature, and they're all related to the fact that there was geologic volcanic activity in the past, before humans were even around.
So has all of this knowledge, has it changed anything in your typical day-to-day existence, or is...
Yes, well, absolutely.
Sleepless nights.
So, well, you know.
She's an optimist.
I'm an optimist.
Well, but optimists do think about worries a little bit.
It's true.
But then you think of, oh, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
In terms of my personal background, and a lot of the students actually ask me this too, in terms of, you know, well, what can we do sort of on a policy level? What can we do on a personal level? So a lot of the personal level stuff we all already do and already know.
Yeah.
Things like energy, you know, energy efficient devices in our homes, and I tell the kids, do not leave your cell phones chargers plugged in if there's no phone attached to it, because it's drawing the phantom charge or whatever. Yeah. And the energy efficient devices, the energy efficient cars, you know, trying to make sure solar, you know, a lot of that is we're already doing. But the one thing that is a surprise to the kids, and was a surprise to me actually when I started learning about this, was there is a tremendous impact on how we eat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The food that we eat, and that's another show.
Yeah. Awesome.
But,
I actually have another surprise for you. We're out of time.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Time flies when you're listening to interesting things.
We definitely have to have you back more in the future, because there's just like so much to talk about.
About the food you just mentioned.
Yeah, well, and you know, it's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
But one little plug, you can, the more meals that you eat that are meatless.
Meatless.
Okay.
Meatless. So do those meatless Mondays.
Because of producing methane, or because of?
Lots of reasons. Invite me back. I'll do it.
Thank you.
We'll do a segment just on that.
Okay. Yes.
All right, Charlotte, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
And we'll be back.
Right after this break.
All right.
This week on the Concerts on the Common series, Hot Acoustics is here to rock the music.
Have you ever considered texting and driving? If so, you should know the consequences. If caught texting and driving for the first time, you could get an $100 fine plus your license taken away for 60 days. The consequences only get worse the more you get caught. Even if you don't get caught, there could be serious effects. You could get into a car accident and hurt yourself or someone else. Texting and driving is a very dangerous combination, so stop before this happens to you.
This week on Business Matters, Tim Kilda finds out why Statline Brewing owner Ted Twinney calls Hopkinen home.
Lives with in terms of putting down our new roots here. So the people, obviously, there's a lot of things that Hopkinton offers that brings that in, from the parks to the schools to the community and history here, the race. There's so many things that I think make it, you know, kind of a fun and special place to be.
So the issue we're going to talk about is today's texting.
Hi, welcome back.
Hi. So while I wait for someplace to sit down, I just want to introduce everybody to the fabulous Pat O'Brien. No, Pat, that's right, Pat O'Brien.
Yep.
And then Ann Click, no E on Ann, and Dale Danahy, she does have an E. And we're going to talk about the issue of today's texting high school kids, and what are some alternatives that we could do as a community that would help kids interact face to face and have not necessarily old-fashioned fun, but be active as a community. And come together, which is one of the things I value about Hopkinton is, you know, looking at people when you walk down the street and, hey, how are you? As opposed to places that I've lived like Newton and Brookline and Boston where you don't look at each other, you look down at the ground. And that's just like, you know, they're not looking at each other if they're looking at their phone. So, so we value that you guys are going to do something about this, and please tell us what you think about that. Collectively, or take turns, however you want to work that out.
Sure, we'll start with Ann, who is certainly our the head and the leader of our group.
All right, thank you. And yes, we do have an idea about involvement, okay? And going away from there, we have a family day coming up on September 16th, and it's going to be for all ages of residents in Hopkinton. And we're zooming in on volunteerism. So, you know, you can't volunteer when you're looking at your phone.
Exactly.
You know, and we've heard from the class of 2018 and the class of 2020. One is going to do a dartboard, and the other one's going to do a cornhole. Now I'm looking for the members of 2019.
Well, I have to say my daughter is in the class of 2019, so I
Okay.
might be able to put some pressure on, which she doesn't like, but that's my job. And she just got into something called Youth in Philanthropy. And I know she has a friend in that, so I think I could put a little pressure on. So they just have to come up with an activity that they would do as part of the family fun day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Sooner rather than later.
And what kinds of things? It's just like a game?
Yep, and anything
Okay.
that they feel that an age group, and they can zoom in on one particular age group or
Okay.
a broad age group. Our focus has been Hopkinton involvement.
Okay.
So it starts with an H, but we want involvement.
Oh, I love
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Hop in.
I just made that
Hop
up.
in.
I just made that up.
You want
I
to
love
trademark
it.
that?
There you go.
Great. So when the kids come and they do that, how are you reaching out to them to involve them in the?
We approached through the school
Okay.
before the end of the year, but it's fine if they want to. If you know a contact that can
I
get
do,
in touch with
a
them.
couple.
Okay.
We reached out to the youth groups, the churches, so a lot of them have been involved, you know, with kids that go to the churches as well.
That's
and
great.
They've taken on an activity. We've got everything from, like we said, cornhole. We have relay races, geocaching.
Oh.
Scavenger hunt, music to keep them all occupied. We have the Bay Path Humane Society is going to bring dogs. So
Great.
potential ones that could be
Oh, that's.
Adopted?
adopted.
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be.
Well.
Yeah.
My daughter will want.
So
me
where
to
did the
do that.
concept come from?
Pretty much from the 300th. We had so much fun putting that together.
Yeah.
We said we don't want this to go away.
Yeah.
I think Joe Regan had a great time putting together the Woodsman show that he did. So the year afterwards, we did a second annual Woodsman show. This will be the third annual. So this is his Woodsman show is being incorporated as well.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I threw an axe, and
you
I didn't
survived through,
realize that it
carry
was
on.
being photographed. So it was in the paper, me throwing this axe, and Ralph Dumas, who was the former financial person, sent me a little text, you know, through the school email and said, "Nice axe throwing."
Did you hit the target?
No. But I will come back and I'll just keep trying to like.
So
it
were
was
all of
really
you on
fun.
the 300th?
No.
So how'd you get
I
involved?
wasn't.
How'd you get sucked up into this?
Well, I wouldn't call it sucked up. And I say it was a privilege. If you look at the Friends of Hopkinton, it is the who's who of, you know, Hopkinton people.
Yeah.
You know, those people that you'd see in town since I've been here. I've been in town for like 34 years. And all these people have been here, and I've known them for that amount of time. So I've known what their commitment to the town is from when I first got here.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them, not all of them, but most of them were born in town. A lot of them came into town and became part of the town. And saw Hopkinton back in its early days. When I came here in '83, there were 7,500 people. And tonight, now we're over 16,000, right?
Right.
So it's changed an awful lot. But these people have stayed. Unfortunately, a lot of those people have left. So just with the way society has changed, you know, you don't see people out on the neighborhood, the front lawns, the kids out playing, down at the ball yard, basketball as much as you used to. So we're trying to bring that back. You know, we're trying to get people to interact, to see each other. So you mentioned the kids. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're going to have
Great.
20 to 30 different booths set up. And so if they're going to come and they're going to participate, they're going to have to interact with people. They're going
Right.
to have to talk with them, find out what that group is about.
Wow.
Play the
that's
game.
Really? That's really
do
cool.
that.
I think we have a caller.
We have a caller on the line.
Hello,
And-
caller.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Great. How are you?
Hey, you guys are doing great. Jim, you're doing fantastic. You're doing again, but you're doing stupid.
He's not as cute. Oh, did I say that?
I just want to say thank you and thank you and thank you to Pat and Dale and the rest of the group for keeping this event going, keeping the spirit of Hopkins alive, especially through their volunteerism.
Yeah.
My big question is, are they going to bring back any bands for Family Day?
Bands. I think Dale mentioned.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller. Please call in, by the way, 508-435-7880 if you have a question or comment. Didn't you mention music, I think?
We did. We tried to get local bands. Dan Cloutier grew up in Hopkinton.
Yeah.
Yep, he's playing. Amanda Maffei is playing.
Great.
Roger Gabler is a local talent.
Yes, Gabler.
Yep.
Yep.
Is that Robin Williams guy?
Yes. Is he doing his comedy or his painting or his singing?
Yes.
He just told me the other day he can sing too. So.
Oh dear.
He does know about that.
He does everything.
Yes.
Barbara Kessler will be playing Hot Acoustics.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And is that all on the same day?
Where is this?
It's behind the middle school.
Okay. On the football field or the field in between?
Like where the
school and
Timlin.
football?
Yes, in between, not inside the track,
All right.
like where the Timlin was.
Yeah.
Right.
And unlike the 300th, we're going to use that whole field. We're not going to go behind the athletic center of the high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to stretch out to the outfield or the baseball field. And,
Great.
especially for the youth or the kids, we got some great inflatables that,
Yeah.
they can participate in.
Are you having a dunk tank?
And we're going to have a dunk tank,
Yes.
and we are looking for...
Being dunked.
I was
Donkeys.
a donkey.
Yeah, we are looking for donkeys.
Yes.
We
I
do have
might
2
be able
volunteers
to.
already, me and Rick Salfaro.
Okay.
Right off
Wow,
the bat said,
that's awesome.
So they have, I think every half hour they want to change.
Yeah.
And the Lions Club is sponsoring that.
Okay.
We have 10 food trucks.
Great.
Oh, wow.
And a group in town came forward and said, when we were growing up, there was a mini marathon that we loved.
Oh.
So that group is going to do a mini marathon
Perfect.
during the
On the
really?
track.
On the
Wow.
track,
That,
yeah.
And that'll
that makes
bring-
so much sense
Yeah.
because it's all right there.
Right. And that
that's
group said,
wonderful.
we need to do that again, and they're going to do it.
So I had a question. The Youth Commission did the cultural and the, what do we call it?
Diversity.
Cultural, no, well, it wasn't the diversity committee, it was a multicultural festival.
Oh, yeah.
So it was Youth Commission and the Hopkinton Diversity and Cultural Alliance talked about it on their page, but this year was the Youth Commission event. So we told the people at that event that you guys might be contacting them to have some things happen because we had some amazing Bollywood dancers and classical Indian dance and some Irish step dancers. Is that part of
Yes.
what you guys are doing? Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that's a really important part of our community right now is
Yeah.
we have so many new cultures coming in that, let's bring everybody together and
Yep.
have it still be all Hopkinton
Yep.
instead of us and them. And
They did come forward.
That's
and,
great.
They're going to we're going to set up a
Thrilled.
stage for them, and they're going to do the dancing. Yeah.
How
amazing.
long is this event?
Yeah, I know.
All day.
Everything is going to
We're
be
starting at 2
wonderful.
o'clock, and we're going to, which we haven't mentioned yet, the fireworks.
Really?
So we're going to have an incredible fireworks display that's going to be pretty much a duplicate of the 300th.
Which was
I missed that, actually,
unbelievable.
so I'm
was that not
thrilled.
unbelievable?
That
Yeah,
was probably
and
as
it's
good as
like-
you could see.
It's like your own personal fireworks display.
Yeah.
It was like right there.
Yeah.
It's the same group, and it's
Yeah.
going to be the
Wow.
same group doing
That's
it.
Yeah.
And
great.
they're the company that puts on the 4th of July in the Esplanade.
Really?
Yes, so we've hired the same company.
oh my gosh, we're so lucky
And
to have
the
that.
town did that for the town at town meeting. If during
Finance
town
group.
meeting,
They
that
voted
finance
it?
group,
The
yep,
finance?
right at the beginning of the meeting, they voted the support.
Yeah.
And with that vote, the money came.
That's wonderful.
So I was curious, like, are you guys full now? You have so many things. Is there any room left on?
Well, they
on
need the
that field?
2019 activity.
Well, the field is big, and
Yeah.
there is room. Actually, the committee met today to start spacing out where everyone's going to be.
Okay.
So it's getting crunch time. We're a month away, less than a month away,
Yeah.
and so we need to start doing that. So if somebody wants to participate, they need to get hold of someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make it known right away because we need to put in.
So would it be one of you three?
Well,
is there
it's
is
Friends
there
of Hopkinton.
Okay,
is
Friends
the name
that-
of the Friends of Hopkinton.
And how do they contact?
Well, I can give my telephone number.
I was going to say
Yeah.
I'm in the book too. They can
Yeah.
call me.
I think we're all in the book.
Okay, so call one of you.
Yep.
And the 2019 youth, if you're out there, I know every single one of you is watching. So, because I know they're an imaginative bunch and a fun bunch. So,
well, that's certainly what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Like you said, and that kind of segues into what I just wanted to say is to answer Jim's question. I've been here a year. Great Hopkinton people. We're getting old, and
Big for yourself.
So, and we need that infusion of young people,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Especially maybe new people in
Right.
town.
Yes.
Different cultures
Great.
to help this committee and this group, be able to flourish a little bit more. So we are looking for new people in the organization. We'd love to have people join us. We'd love to people help.
Well, so if somebody was listening and saying, well, it sounds kind of cool, but what's the commitment?
Okay, it's once a month. The Friends of Hopkinton meet once a month, and we toss out ideas. And then this came out of one of our monthly meetings, and now we're meeting bi-weekly.
Yeah,
just
right.
Well, to get this right.
So
but
is it-
usually once a month, and we come up with ideas about to keep the spirit of Hopkinton alive.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So is it, which weeknight do you normally do?
The first Thursday of the month.
First Thursday? And the question then is, how do they contact if they want
friendsofhopkinton.com.
.org. Okay, friendsofhopkinton.org. Okay, because I think that makes a lot of sense to have, representation from all different,
Absolutely.
whoever we have here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Young and old, and we certainly.
Are you selling T-shirts?
Yeah.
Or doing branding?
Are they friends of?
We are not. We are thinking of giving out a bag that day, but if nothing's being sold, we do have a raffle. We are trying to sell tickets to a wood raffle. Joe Regan's putting together a truckload of wood, and we'll deliver it in Hopkinton
that's
or
so
any
nice.
town
Bordering.
touching. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
So
Hopkinton.
nice.
So we are selling raffle tickets for that.
My other question is, do you, in terms of a budget, how are you funding this? Do you have enough money? Do you need people to donate?
Well, right now I'm the one-man fundraising committee.
Okay.
Doing a great job.
And
One
I've
woman?
gone to I've gone to the businesses in town.
Okay.
As many as I have been able to.
Okay.
I've contacted through the Chamber of Commerce by email. I prefer to knock on your door. It's kind of hard to say no when you're standing face to face.
Yeah.
It's easy to hang
Puppy
up.
eyes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And we've done very well.
Okay, good.
A lot of the businesses are sending in checks as we speak.
Wonderful.
The response has been wonderful. I think in the future, perhaps we'll, ask the town to foot the bill for all of it, so we won't have to, knock on doors. But for this year, anybody that wants to mail a check, make it out to the Friends of Hopkinton Incorporated, mail it to my house, 25 East Main Street.
Okay.
I would be glad to put it in the. We do have a lot of expenses.
Yeah, I would think so.
Advertising, we've got lawn signs. There's a lot of
Yeah.
miscellaneous
'Cause
things
you
you
know
don't
what
think
I
of.
find amazing is like, I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. It's like this world has become so busy and it's so crazed and you're always connected. Like, talk about a Hopkinton Family Day.
Yeah.
It's really, it's like, it's not retro, it's before retro. It's like when it was all about community,
Yeah.
and people just kind of hung out together. And I just am really interested because the kids of today have not grown up with that.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, that's true.
like, I raised my kids right on the classics, but they really kind of rebelled at the Waltons.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not watching this,
Yeah.
Dad. I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
We like the Dick Van Dyke Show, but not the Waltons. But like the sense
Wizard
of
of Oz.
community,
Sure.
you know. So I'm like really curious to see like what the youth, how they connect with this, and what the takeaway is for them.
Well, wouldn't you like to ask the youth that were up at the high school 2 years ago during the anniversary?
Yeah.
Ask them.
Yeah.
And I felt that it was there for all of us.
So
Yeah.
if you're watching and you were at the high school 2 years ago for the 300th anniversary, we would love to hear from you. Please call us 508-435-7880, especially if you are middle school, high school, elementary school, because you were there, you saw it. Tell us why it was fabulous. We'd
Yes.
love to hear that.
Exactly.
And then I have a question, which is it possible to have that strawberry shortcake that the library makes?
Unfortunately, it's being done the same day as Polyarts.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the organizations are tied into that, and they're
yeah.
busy. The Apple Crisp. Yeah. So the ones that the Friends make.
Oh, that's right. It's Apple Crisp.
It's Apple Crisp.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
So you can get it
Somebody
there.
else is strawberry
Yeah,
shortcake.
go
On the
there
way.
first.
Although
On the way.
Participate. No,
Exactly.
really.
That's kind of a morning-ish,
Yes.
midday-ish. So if you're coming in at 2, that actually will carry the whole day.
Yep.
Yeah.
People
That's-
can go to Polyarts
wonderful.
and get their lunch and then come to the family day and have supper.
Yeah.
And so that really is a community day, because I know a lot of high school kids and middle school kids hang out at or go to Polyarts.
Yeah.
You know, it's there's a lot going on there besides the Apple Crisp. I think someone should do strawberry shortcake.
They're not
Well, we do
seasonal.
have
Somebody did that.
cannolis.
Yes.
No,
Then you're all set.
Yeah.
We got the cannolis
We
in.
need to know what the food trucks are, because that might
Well,
be
I think we
major.
do have the
Oh,
sausage guy from Fenway Park.
Yeah.
coming in there.
Really?
Yeah,
We have
coming in
Asian, we have pizza, Anzio's Pizza.
Is Snappy
We
Dog
have
gonna
Snappy
show up?
Dogs,
Yeah.
we do.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
There's a barbecue truck.
Mexican.
Yep.
So a wide range
And
of
then for
food trucks.
desserts, we have cannolis, and we have fried dough, and we
Great.
have
Humans.
Humans ice cream.
Humans
I
ice
was
cream.
gonna make sure you had ice cream. Ice cream is so important.
Good. We just talked about ice cream last week on our show, so
Yeah.
we know ice cream is important.
That's a fact.
So
Wow.
I
How many
think-
people are in your group right now?
About a dozen.
About a dozen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you don't have to come every month if you can't make
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
and I think
Come when you can.
the most important thing to you is to have some ideas and new ideas. So if
Right.
Sure.
and participation of a wide
Right,
range.
and then every year it'll get easier. You know,
Yeah, sure.
there was- once you get the template set up, then
Right.
it gets easier and easier.
So
And
are you
So,
are you planning to do this every year? Family
Yes.
Day.
This is gonna be an
That's
annual
wonderful.
event.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then so
Thank you.
after September 16th, we'll start meeting for next
Next
year.
year.
Be kind of like the marathon, you know.
Yeah.
We kind of
So I think I might have to be on this committee. Is that okay?
Oh my
that would be
goodness,
wonderful.
that would be
Because
wonderful.
this is exactly the kind of thing I love to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, get back to the first thing I was saying. Like, I'm just, like, is there anything that you're able to do during the day to kind of like reinforce that, you know, people are gonna go there and they're gonna do all these great things. They're gonna have fun. They're gonna have games. They're gonna have a lot of good food and some ice cream at the end. Is there anything that you're thinking about, or that even could be done, I don't even know, to try to like underscore the event that, you know, this is the community coming out together? Or is it more just like, by definition, it's the community out together and they make connections?
When we started, we said, community groups, that is what we want there. And that's what we went for right from the very beginning. Because we want the people in Hopkinton, new, old, or not,
Yeah.
to know who is behind all the activities that make Hopkinton the way
That's
it is.
wonderful.
And so that's what we did.
We contacted 54 community, welcome churches to Mom's Club, Women's Club, Garden Club. Everybody we could think of went through the little
Sure.
Hopkinton
Wow, that's
book.
And
awesome.
I think we have a caller.
Yes.
Caller, are you on the line?
Yeah,
Hi. How are you? Thank you for calling. What did you want to tell us?
I wanted to tell you that I was at the 100th anniversary.
Thank you for telling us you were at the 300th anniversary. And what is your name?
My name is Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. So what did you think?
I like the face paint.
Okay.
And I also like the fireworks.
Face paint and fireworks. Did you play any games at the event?
Yeah,
Which ones did you love? All of them?
baseball.
Baseball.
You know who that is? It's Ryan Click.
Well, we have a face painter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling, Ryan. Anything else you want to say, or did your brother want to say anything? Michael?
No thanks.
Okay.
Hi, Ryan.
Thank you for
what?
calling.
That was kind of interesting that call came in just as we were talking about this, because it made me realize that you don't have to have a presentation saying, "Hey, this is community." It's like you're making memories.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's like this is what they're gonna
Yeah.
look back for the rest of their lives and say, "Wow, I was there and I had, you know, such a
Yeah.
great time."
So do you have a face painter yet?
We do. We have a
Okay.
professional face painter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Joelle Crosby? No, someone else.
No.
And do you have a baseball thing happening yet? I'm just trying to think
Yep.
what to tell the class of 2019 to do. Okay.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Joanne, we can just run down a couple of the events, kind of
Yes,
maybe
please.
Sure.
get
I'd love
people
to
We
hear
could
excited on what
actually
they have.
leave a list with you if you'd like. You
Sure.
wanna go ahead?
The Boy Scouts have made a sling launcher, so they're going to be launching
Water
at
balloons
tin
or-
cans. No, I'm not sure. They haven't decided what exactly. I don't
Something
think-
at tin cans?
Yep.
I
Yeah,
want to do
and
that.
try to knock that over. There's a tug of war that
Cool.
the Cub Scouts are doing.
Nice.
The Faith Community Church is going to have a couple of photo booths, so you can have pictures done. The Girl Scouts are doing the family race, the mini marathon.
That's
and they want to
wonderful.
make a family race out of it as well, that your family members will do a relay race. HALT is doing geocaching. The class of 2018 has a dartboard with balloons on it that you pop.
Yeah.
The high school class of 2020 has the cornhole game. The youth services, youth and family services will, Denise will have her popcorn machine there and give
Yes,
out popcorn. The Hopkins and basketball will do they're going to bring in a basketball hoop and you can do free throws. Let's see, the Center for the Arts is going to do a public arts project and they're figuring that one out as we speak. Let's see, the Hopkins and Diversity and Cultural Alliance is going to have a dance floor and do some different cultural dances. The Hopkinton Ed Foundation is working in, they're doing a Google Cardboard.
A Google Cardboard?
Yeah, I had to Google that one to see what it is. You'll have to come and see what
I'll
it
have
is.
to come and see what that is.
Very cool.
Okay.
The fire department will do an extrication. They're going to have a vehicle out there that they'll cut up. The Garden
Wow,
Club.
Jaws of Life kind of thing?
Yes.
Ooh, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
The Historical Society is putting together vintage games that you can play.
Wonderful.
So that should be really, and toys. Let's see, the Lions Club is going to have the dunk tank. The Youth Commission is going to do cotton candy with a cotton candy machine. The PTA is going to do a cardboard maze that the kids can put together and run through.
That's so
Project.
Do we need big pieces of like cardboard that refrigerator boxes?
Yes, we
So where would they
do.
deliver the refrigerator boxes and washing machine boxes and all of the big
we
pieces
need
of cardboard?
Jen
Yes.
Rudd is now the HPTA president.
Okay.
So she will be
So
in charge of
contact Jen Rudd if you have
Yes.
huge pieces
Yeah.
of cardboard like refrigerator boxes, dryer boxes, any big boxes, TV boxes. Jen Rudd is the person that needs them
They did
for
put
the
out
maze.
Yep, thank
Yes.
you.
We're pretty sure the Islamic is going to.
Oh yeah, the Islamic Center is going to do, I think, bubbles, like giant bubbles.
Wow.
And they were thinking of henna tattoos.
Oh,
they
I
haven't
love that.
really, they haven't finalized theirs
So
yet.
the bubbles that you can get in and roll around, or just blow?
No, just blow them. Project Just Because it has a giant Jenga. Now, for those that like to play the little tower
Cool.
one, these are 2x6s that stand about that tall. So there'll be some giant Jenga games going on. St. John's Youth Group is going to help with the golf and hockey slap shots. They've got the blow up slap shot. Let's see.
That's a lot.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Vineyard Church is doing a scavenger hunt.
So can
And
adults participate in the
Yeah.
games? Oh,
Yep.
thank you.
The Women's Club is doing a beanbag throw for the younger children. And the YMCA is providing tables for us, so we'll have 20 picnic tables so you can sit and enjoy your dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Trails Club is going to be present, and they have, they would like to pass out information about their activities in town.
That's amazing.
Yeah, wow, that's a
So is
lot
that
of stuff.
more than the
Have all
300?
these?
Yeah, I
So
should,
just
probably
just
should mention.
different things. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're actually going to have 2 photo booths, so, you know, a family to step into a photo booth, and then a cutout booth, and then a character artist is going to be there.
Caricature.
To do,
Caricature.
like a
Yep.
family or members, face painting. We're having Maggie the Clown, and we're having a balloon artist.
Wow. That's the one where they make the dog out of the lawn,
Yeah.
dachshund out of the lawn,
Yeah.
squeaky
Yeah.
thing, and it pops
Yeah.
and everyone
Yeah.
says, oh,
Yeah.
So we've gotten sponsorships from businesses for the people that are coming professionally to paint your face, or for the stage. So we've had great response, which has been awesome to help the costs that we are incurring.
We'll be featuring those sponsors throughout the day. We'll be mentioning them over the mic, and also there'll be signs around and in front of the activities. So if someone is interested in sponsoring an activity or just a general donation, Dale's the person they need to be in touch with.
Okay. And Jen run his big boxes?
Yep.
Yep.
Boxes.
And we got local DJ talent Chuck Nolan from ZLX. He's going to be
so exciting.
emceeing from the start till about 5 o'clock, and then local resident Don Cronin is going to take over, and he's going to bring us right through the fireworks. So
if people have requests for songs, should they contact Chuck Nolan or no? No, don't contact Chuck Nolan if you know. He knows what to play.
Yeah, well,
no, it's going to be different groups.
Right, he'll be in between the groups, and he'll be
DJ in between.
Right, that and
nice
talking about the different events, to get to the auto extrication or the relay run and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And all the major talent, local talent is donating their time, so it's really huge.
We are such blessed. We are so blessed here with the people and the community and the talent and time. And thank you guys so much for putting all that effort in.
And we'll be approaching the school about volunteers. We have a volunteer coordinator, and Mr. Hanna is helping us at the school level with volunteers, so that will be taking effect right away in the beginning of school year. So any of those who are here tonight.
Yeah, need t-shirts, I'm just telling you that.
So you mean teachers to volunteer or students?
No, we're hoping students.
Okay, and that sounds like that sounds like a community service opportunity.
Lots of different
community
things.
Service, they could get community service hours for that.
They can, or they can just go and do what they help us.
Yes.
Without
without a reward. The intrinsic reward.
Yeah.
And we're also putting buses together to try to get people out to the Woodsman Show, which will be down on Field 13.
And that's where it was before.
Yes.
It's a great location.
Yeah.
If you throw the axe and it misses, it just goes in the woods. Not that I would know about that.
That's it.
And that's for all ages. Where Joe has set up a nice variety of activities for all ages.
I remember from last year, I had an international student from Italy. Right. And so I said, "Oh, this is such a fun thing, and let's go. We're gonna throw some axes." And she, I don't know what she thought, but I hadn't been before, so I was interested, and I thought it's an American thing. They probably don't do this in Italy, and it was really fun. And I'm not sure she threw an axe, but I think she did do something else. And they have team sawing. So they have two people on either end of a saw trying to cut as fast as they can through a big log, and then they axe throwing at the target, and then what else?
Oh, there were.
I can't remember.
It's balancing things for kids, stuff like that.
There's some strictly for the younger.
Female awards and some male awards, and
that's Joe's list right there. So if you can
maple sap run. So one person puts wood in the wheelbarrow and wheels to the window. The other puts the wood in the cellar window and runs to the wood stove. What? Then the other person gets the water and puts it on the wood stove. It's a timed event. I don't know. I've never heard of that, but that sounds like really cool thing.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get to eat maple syrup at the end of that? I'm not sure.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think we're using a little imagination on that one, but
it's strictly an amateur show this year. Last year he had the professional, so it's strictly looking for Hopkinton residents to, join in the fun, join in the participation, and just let your hair down.
Nice.
So in anticipation of your asking us how are youth going to put down their phones, they're not going to have time to look at them unless they want to know where things are, because we will have something that people can download and locate different things. But
this will be different, obviously, than anything. And the kids may not really understand what it is, so we kind of encourage parents to encourage their kids to come to the event, because it'll be good to see their friends there, because it's going to be outdoors, and pray for a good day.
And will you have a list of activities in the paper at some point? So I also think that the schools could maybe put out a flyer through the school wires, if you get permission to do that.
They may.
It's a wonderful
They may.
school, community town building thing. Yeah.
And you will be seeing these signs around town
And
shortly.
I was going to ask you, who designed the logo for this?
One of our members' niece lives outside of D.C. She grew up in Hopkins. She's a graduate of Hopkins, and she's now a creative designer, and she designed that for us.
I love it. I love it.
Yep.
Because it's got the tree from town, the common, that we think of, and then all these different people, and there are lots of different people and interacting in different ways, and but they're connected, just like our community should be.
And that banner will be across Main Street
Wonderful.
shortly.
Nice.
And the green, I like the green and white.
Yep.
Everybody likes the green and white.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be flooded in the town shortly. So
Good.
we're gonna,
Okay.
everyone
Because
will
I think
see
that's
that.
the most important thing is for everyone to be aware of it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because
Who
they're
are-
already going to know that it's polyarts.
Right.
Yeah.
Who are some of your major sponsors? You had mentioned that earlier.
Western Nurseries, Paul Phipps, Paul Mastriani. Let me think.
The Housewives of Hopkinton,
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
the Moms Club,
Yep. Carboni's Restaurant. Select. Yep.
Okay.
we're thinking off the top of our
I
head.
know.
That's all right.
I hope I didn't forget anyone, but your sign will be up that day.
It will
yeah.
be, yeah. I think we are forgetting one or two,
Oh, I
to
know
tell
we
you
are.
the truth.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
all
too
right.
How could you
bad.
not forget something with
That's
so
it.
much
Yeah.
stuff here?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've had Dale has done a great job, and she has been very, very pleased with the response.
Yeah.
I gave her a check today for $800.
Wow, that's so
McIntyre
wonderful.
Loom. Yeah.
Lots
Okay.
of lots
Yeah.
of door knocking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you
and
gotta do
everybody's
it.
been
Personal
wonderful.
contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a great town for businesses, for
Yeah.
individuals, for everything. So
Right.
they're all chipping in, and that's all we ask.
Perfect.
Well, that's a great way to leave it because we blew right through our current event segment. We thank you very much for watching our show, and we hope that you'll tune in next time for another episode
Yep.
of the Jen and Margie Show.
And next week we'll be talking about center school reuse. We're going to be talking about the library, lots of other things. Please join us.